I'm Tammy Peterson. I'm the Director of Clean Energy at the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. Thank you all for joining us here today. We know it's always a busy time in the middle of December with deadlines approaching at the end of the year and many other things happening, so we appreciate your time. We'll be recording the session today so that we can share it with you and others that might be interested. Please do share it widely to your networks within your regional planning regions so that we can get the word out and share the information that we have today further. And then, without further ado, I'll kick off what we're doing today. So here's our agenda. As you can see, we're going to discuss some alternative fuel purchase options that are on the Massachusetts statewide contracts. As you're probably aware if you're tuning in, the reason that we wanted to share this with you throughout the country, not just in Massachusetts, is not only just to show you what we're doing here, but because those contracts are open and accessible to any cities and towns and states throughout the country. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. Also, we'll tell you then about the program that we've put together to optimize some statewide contracts, particularly with the vendor XL hybrids and their applications, which we'll get into. We'll take step by step through the process, and that's not to say that it's a difficult or challenging process, just what most of you have not really partaken in before, and so wanted to make sure that we clearly delineated that process and showed you how easy it was. And that too, if you're able to share it with others, you can share with them the ease of it, and you can always contact us at any time, and we'll give our contact information as well. Lastly, we'll save some time at the end if there's any questions, and can always, again, field questions at the webinar as well. That would give you a little bit of information about who we are, why we're talking to you today. Some of you might be participating with us in the NARC Fleets for the Future project with US DOE, and if so, you've met us in different ways at different times, but some of you may not be or may only be peripherally aware of that program. So just to give you a little background, here at the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, MAPC, we are a regional planning agency that serves 101 cities and towns. That's pretty big for Massachusetts. That's nearly a third of all the cities and towns in the state. It's nearly half the state's population. And within this region, we serve a number of interests from a number of us today on those interests. Like I said, I'm the director of the Clean Energy Department. I'm here with colleagues as well from our Transportation and Municipal Collaboration Department. I'll turn it over to them in just a minute to tell you a little bit more about what they do. We do a lot of work in land use and housing and economic development, in public health, and data and digital services, and homeland security, and more with our 80-plus, and now I think it's even 90-plus employees. We have a wide range of planning and technical expertise, and that includes doing a lot of collective procurements and collective purchasing. We've done that in the vehicle and clean energy space for many years. Give you more background on the Clean Energy Department. We work in a number of areas. We do work regionally with many of our cities and towns in the collective purchasing realm, doing projects on energy efficiency upgrades in municipal facilities, with solar and LED streetlights, with electricity aggregation, moving to resiliency and storage, and in this green mobility space as well that we'll tell you more about today. We do more traditional planning that includes net zero planning and technical assistance services in a number of ways. And I'll turn right now to my colleague Allison Felix in our Transportation Department to tell you just a little bit more about what they do.
Thank you, Cami. I'm Allison Felix with MAPC. I am a senior transportation planner in our Transportation Department. And so to clean energy, transportation has projects in many fields, or fields of transportation. As you see from the slide, these are the key headlines of the topic areas we cover. We look at equitable transit-oriented planning. We do a lot of parking studies, and also studies that look at alternative modes such as bicycle and pedestrian planning. We also we work closely with the Boston MPO on planning season initiatives, and also we're involved with research and policy, primarily now focusing on autonomous vehicle work, electric vehicle work, as well as transportation network companies like Uber and Lyft. We also do review of development impacts for large-scale transportation projects, as well as transit planning and placemaking. And I will pass the conversation to Mark Fine, who is our Director of Municipal Collaboration.
Yeah, hello everybody. This is Mark. Municipal Collaboration Department, we do a variety of things. I guess of most relevance to the conversation today is the work we do with collective purchasing. In particular, the vehicles purchasing work we've done in partnership with the Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts and the Greater Boston Police Council. So we have memorandums of understanding with both of those organizations. They have members across the state, so they're actually statewide contracts that we do on behalf of the members of both of those organizations. And then their cities and towns are then able to use those contracts to purchase a range of vehicles and equipment, everything from fire trucks and ambulances to public works vehicles, public works equipment, police cars, and the like. So, we have a fair amount of experience with vehicles purchasing, and that's been one of the ways we've been able to contribute to the Green Mobility Program that we will talk to you more about today.
Great, Mark and Allison. And enough about us. I want to tell you a little bit more about how you can participate in these types of programs with us and really leverage the good savings potential that we have put together with some different agencies and many regional and national partners. So you can see here the universe of partners that are part of the Fleets for the Future program. Some of you are likely very familiar with this, but for others you can see the technical experts, the regional planning agencies and councils of governments, the consultants, and many other partners that we've brought into the fold here to really accelerate the deployment of alternative fuel vehicles, looking at building economies of scale, knowledge and peer-to-peer sharing, and through aggregating all of these purchases at both regional and national scales, really bringing down the costs and increasing the accessibility of alternative fuel vehicles. In the MAPC region, we've been focusing especially on hybrid conversions, electric vehicle infrastructure, and as some other kind of aftermarket conversion technologies. And we'll tell you more about that. And to do that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Meg Aki, also in our Clean Energy Department, to tell you a little bit more about our statewide contracts, as well as how to participate in our Green Mobility Program. Meg?
Great. Thanks, Cami. So we wanted to start things off with an introduction to the statewide contracts that have alternative fuel options available to entities in Massachusetts and also nationwide, as Cami mentioned earlier. And we wanted to do this on the information session to really sort of contextualize the program that we're talking about today and also highlight some of the new makes and models of vehicles that are available on VH 98 and give you an overview of the other statewide contract, VH 102, that's really the base mechanism for our group purchasing program. So the Operational Services Division, or OSD, is the Massachusetts public agency that oversees public procurement of goods and services across Massachusetts. Manage and maintain contracts across many different categories, but today we're focused on two of their vehicle contracts that are really connected to green mobility for public fleets. So the first one, so one of the reasons why we're hiring these contracts, as Kimmy mentioned, is that these two contracts in particular, this isn't a practice that's applicable across all of the contracts that we have here in Massachusetts, but for both VH 98 and VH 102, these are open to public entities nationwide, and you can see on the side this encompasses all of those different entities, even some, so all sorts of different public entities are eligible to purchase off of these two contracts. So on VH 98, while it's not currently the focus of our group purchasing program, they recently updated it as of December 1st of this month with some new 2017, 2018, and 2019 models. So as you can see, there's about 24 alternative fuel OEM options that range from battery electric to hybrid electric, plug-in hybrid electric, and also two CNG vehicles. And additionally, come January 1st of 2018, OSD plans to add some dealerships to the contract that will hopefully expand the contract beyond just sort of the light-duty vehicle space to more medium and heavy-duty vehicle options. So we're excited to see how that contract continues to grow and expand its alternative fuel options. So there's many more vehicles on VH 98, but this is just the subset of alternative fuel vehicles that we wanted to highlight for folks to let you know about these vehicle purchasing opportunities. And then 2, which is the mechanism used for our Green Mobility Group Purchasing Program, really the starting point for how to go about developing our group purchasing program. It has 3 service categories. The first is charging stations for electric vehicles. You can see we have 6 vendors there. Category 2 is idle reduction technology, and right now we just have 1 vendor, but we're definitely looking to expand this section of the contract. And then lastly, there's category 3, which covers aftermarket conversion technology, and we have 4 vendors currently in that category of the contract. And so there's aspect of DH-102 as a contract that I wanted to highlight for folks is that when we went out to bid with this contract, the sourcing team requested that all the vendors provide volume-based % discounts along with their base pricing that's a part of the contract. And so the volume-based discounts that vendors submitted to us and is a part of the pricing of the contract was a really good starting point for our purchasing program and thinking about how we can connect smaller fleets and have them be able to tap into those volume-based discounts that are available on the contract. So I want to switch gears to the main focus of the webinar, which is our Green Mobility Group Purchasing Program. And I'm going to really get right to the point with these slides and provide an overview of the opportunity that's currently available through the program and walk you through the process of how to participate in the next month or so. So I have a little background on the process of how we developed this program as a part of the Fleets for the Future initiative. Back in early spring, starting in February, we solicited interest from our communities and found that there was a lot of interest, particularly in alternative fuel conversions for vans and shuttle buses. And looking at the vendors that we had just added to Category 3 of DH-102, we identified the most opportunity to start bringing those new technologies at a discounted cost to our communities by using group economies of scale. So over the summer, in July, we finalized an agreement with XL Hybrids in partnership with Department of Energy Resources in Massachusetts and also OSD to aggregate the purchases of interested entities to take advantage of the bulk discounts on DH-102. And so this was a 6-month pricing agreement that started at the end of July, and we were able to negotiate both the aggregated volume-based discounts and the accelerated time-based discounts. So I'll go into that in a little bit more detail because it's a little bit complicated. So as you can see here, there were 2 accelerated time-based discounts for the first 2 time windows of the pricing agreement. In the first 30 days, it was a 3% discount. In the next 60 days, it was a 1.5% discount. And we're currently in the 90 to 180-day time period where there isn't a accelerated time-based discount, but there are still the volume-based discounts. And so as you can see, within each of those time windows, the volume-based breaks are below, and that's where you get the aggregated discount based on the purchase orders that come through. So, for example, in the first time window, we broke the 20-plus threshold based on the purchases that were made by 4 of the fleets that participated in the program, which triggered that volume-based discount for each of their orders during that time period. And I do want to mention, so the benefit of purchasing in the third time window is that you would get the access to the volume-based discount that would just be based on the volume of your purchase order. It would be based on the volume of all the different purchase orders that came in the next, and now we have the 30 days or so of the time window. And 2 slides just present the types of vehicles that are eligible for hybrid conversion using XL Hybrids technology. The way that we made it easier to obtain larger volumes was by these volume-based discounts on the class of vehicle rather than the specific make and model of the vehicle type. So it helped us be able to aggregate more bulk while still addressing all the different needs, the different fleets that were interested in the program. So this is all of the Class 2 vans that are eligible for hybrid electric upfit or retrofit. And so the set of Class 3 through 6 chassis that are eligible for hybrid electric upfit or retrofit And then lastly, the Class 2 Ford pickups, which are newly a part of Xcel's offerings, and they're eligible for a plug-in hybrid electric upfit or retrofit. And so just quickly, I wanted to give you an overview of Xcel Hybrid's technology and some of the associated benefits for those of you who aren't familiar with them as a company. As you saw on the previous two slides, this technology converts traditional internal combustion engines to hybrid electric, or in the pickup truck to plug-in hybrid electric using their regenerative braking technology. And the install for this technology is very quick. It can be done either at the point of purchase if you're doing an upfit, so they work with the OEM to install their technology or before you even get the vehicle delivered, or you can do it on-site or off-site as a retrofit of an existing vehicle that's in your fleet already to make it more fuel efficient. And these retrofits don't impact the original vehicle warranty either. So on the benefit side, the biggest impact is really on the fuel economy savings that you see. On average, it's a of about 25%. Obviously, this varies depending on how heavily the vehicle is used. And then some other savings can be gained by reduction in the brake maintenance that's needed. By having the regenerative braking technology, there's less wear and tear on the vehicle, so less frequent visits to get maintenance done on the vehicle. There also is an increase in driver productivity by not needing to fuel up so often, so there can be time spent doing all the other various tasks that folks need to do throughout the day rather than stopping and refueling. And also potentially, if you're doing an upfit of a vehicle, you can choose to downsize the engine, and that can provide immediate upfront savings on the overall cost of the vehicle itself. Another thing to keep in mind as you're thinking about ways you might want to plug this technology into your fleet. If you do want to learn more about this technology and also the others in Category 3, we had a webinar back in June where each of the vendors presented on the specific mechanics of how their technology works and applications for municipal fleets. So I can circulate the link to that recording as well so you can get all the nitty-gritty details on the different technologies. Just to give a quick example of the benefits of purchasing through MAPC's program, these results of the first 30-day time frame of this first round of the program. We had 28 vehicles purchase retrofit kits, and that was from 4 different fleets. 3 of those were state agencies. One was the City of Cambridge here in Massachusetts. And on average is about an 11 to 19% discount on each of their purchase orders, which out to about $1,000 to $2,000 per vehicle. Yeah, like I said, on average, you can see a 25 to 30% improvement in fuel economy. Keeping tabs with the fleets who participated and see how that technology is working out in their fleets as well. Now I turn to the process. Cami said it's very full, both for in-state and out-of-state entities that are interested in participating, but really just wanted to walk folks through it and make sure that everything's out there in terms of how you can take advantage of this in the next month or so. There are 2 initial steps that out-of-state entities need to take prior to moving ahead with participating in the program, and then after that, it's a simple 3-step process to move forward with a purchase that applies to all of the public entities who want to participate in the program. 2 initial steps that for out-of-state entities to take to purchase off of VH 102. There's not a lot of requirements for you to purchase off of the contract, but you do need to receive approval from your local procurement officer or who's in charge of procurement for your particular entity. So you'll want to review the contract and make sure that it adheres to any of your local or state procurement laws. And then once you do that and get approval, just to notify the contract manager of VH 102, which in this case is Charlie Tuttle, and his information is provided on the slide. And this is just to give him a heads up that you're going to be purchasing off a contract, and helps OSD keep track of purchases that are occurring outside of their online procurement system that in-state entities would be using. And then, so in order to move forward with the purchase orders for the group purchasing program, these are the 3 steps that you need to take. First is just to reach out to myself at MAPC, and I can give you details on the exact pricing and the potential discounts that you could see depending on the volume that we have coming in the next month or so. Then you would submit your purchase order with the vehicle specifications of what type of kit you'll be purchasing from XL Hybrids. These need to be submitted by January 25th, 2018, in order to count towards the program and for you to take advantage of the volume-based discounts that we have available. And these can be done in whatever purchase order template that your entity uses. The only requirement is that it needs to reference the bid number that's on the slide in order to count towards the group purchasing program. This helps XL Hybrids flag it as something that's a part of the program and add it to the total tally to figure out what the volume-based discount will be for that time period. And we just ask that you notify us and also your regional planning council that's a part of the Fleets for the Future project when you submit the PO, so that we can be aware of how many purchases are coming in and know what kind of discounts we can anticipate fleets getting to take advantage of for this last time window for the program. So with that, make the process as streamlined as possible for folks to participate, to really get as many fleets as can to take advantage of what we think is really great technology to fleets and make them more green, and also take advantage of some of the discounts that are available on the contract during this time period. So now we'll turn it over to answer any questions you have. We have lots of time for questions. If you do have a really technical question, we're happy to pass those on to XL Hybrids and get you an answer on that. But otherwise, yeah, what questions do folks have?
And can I jump in just for a second?
Yes.
This is Cammie again. Just wanted to reiterate what Meg had said about the value of the volume-based discounts in the purchasing program. So through that January 25th date, any of the purchase orders that come in, even if it's for one upfit or retrofit for one vehicle in your community, your region, wherever it is, we can add that to the other purchases coming in, so that it's 6 or more. You then everyone that's submitted then qualifies for that first volume-based discount. And again, if we get to that 20 or more threshold, that's a deeper volume-based discount, and so on. So it allows us to do this complete aggregate volume-based discount across the country. But I did also want to point out that for those who are not able to take advantage of this by the 25th of January, or even if you do, and then you have other vehicles that you want to possibly retrofit or upfit following that date, that there still will be, the contract is still intact after that. And so the volume-based discounts per purchase order still remain. So if you were to purchase something January 26th or later and had 6 or more vehicles that were part of your purchase order, or 20 or more, or whichever, met whatever threshold, you would then still qualify for those volume-based discounts, but it's at a per purchase order basis, as opposed to in our purchasing program currently in this third round or the third window of it, it's across all purchase orders that we're aggregating that volume. So a real advantage in the next 5 or whatever it is, but still some really good discounts in it, that remain part of the contract continuing after that. And we hope as MAPC to also offer other collective purchasing programs in the future as well, and we'll keep everyone updated. So with that, I'll see if we have any questions that folks have submitted.
Yeah, just a quick technical reminder to folks, you can type it into the Q&A box. If you can on your screen, let us know, or let us know in the chat box, I suppose. Question about whether or not the XL Hybrid retrofit can be done on older vehicles, and are there any model year limitations? Yes, it can be done on older vehicles. XL recommends no older than about, I think, 7 years from whatever the current model year is. So I think you could retrofit something back to model year 2010. Obviously, the further back you go, the shorter the life of the vehicle is, so the return on investment calculation is going to change, but it all depends on how heavily the vehicle is used, what you anticipate the life of the vehicle being going forward, and that's a calculation that XL is happy to work with folks on to kind of figure out what makes the most sense and is the most cost-effective for folks. couple more to see if there's any lingering questions.
Always welcome to reach out directly to us after today with any questions that you think of today that you want to ask or about any of the other programs that we've discussed.
Yeah, those are regional planning agencies that are part of the Fleets for the Future initiative. I'll be sending around the recording of this webinar along with slides and other materials that we have about the program, so you can circulate those to your member communities to get that information out to them so that they're aware of how they can participate in the program in the coming weeks.
With that, we don't want to take any more of your time. Again, we really appreciate you tuning in today, and we'll send out both the slides, the link to the prior webinar that Meg mentioned that we had the different vendors participate in with information about their technologies that we invite you to view and to engage in and follow up with the vendors or us with any questions on that. And we'll send around the recording to this webinar that if you need or want to watch it again, you always can, and if there's others that you want to share it with so they can catch up on the process, we hope you will do that. With that, we wish you all a very happy holiday season and hope that we'll hear from some of you in being able to take advantage of this program and subsequent ones as well. Thank you all so much for your time today.